Hello everybody and welcome to another mystery box function challenge. Inside this purple mystery box there is some mystery math, and your challenge is to figure out what that math is. You can pause the video, click the link in the description, and then put in as many numbers as you like in the top and see how they're changed as they come out the bottom. When you've got an idea, come on back, listen to the rest of the video and see if we get the same thing. All right, I'm going to begin with a 0. And 0 gives us 0. Okay, how about a 1? And a 1 is some kind of decimal. Okay, how about 2? Oh, didn't expect that. So maybe we've got an absolute value function here. Maybe it's an upside down parabola. Where would the vertex be? This is an odd one. Let's try 3. Okay, so it went up and down and up. Now I'm starting to think this is a periodic function, so maybe this is sine or cosine. It looks kind of squished if it's the sine or the cosine. I'm going to put in 3.1415. Oops. So an approximation of pi. That's really close to 0. Okay. So let's start thinking about these trigonometric functions. This one looks kind of a mess, honestly. But let's start thinking about what it could possibly be. So when we have the unit circle here, so the circle with the radius of 1, what we're doing with the things like the sine and the cosine is we're measuring an angle. So our input is the size of this angle measured in radians, so the distance around the circumference. So starting here and going out to the right would be an angle of 0. And this point, this endpoint, gives you the sine and the cosine. The cosine is x and the sine is the y value. So at 0, the sine is 0, okay? So this looks like it could be sine. And at, well, here's pi over 2, and here's pi. At pi, the sine is also 0. So it's just on the x-axis. There's no, the value for y is 0. And then at pi over, or 2 pi over 3 pi over 2, excuse me, it should be a -1. At pi over 2, it should be a +1. So let's go for pi over 2 and see what we get. So pi over 2, something close to pi over 2 is 1.5. That in. Whoa, and it's not even on the graph. It's up at 14. So that's way more than 1. So what could possibly be going on here? I'm going to put in a couple more points so that we can see the shape. I have a hunch about this one. So I'm going to do, so 1.5. Let's do a 1.2. We'll get some values closer in. And let's put in a 1.3. Yeah. So this is racing up. And at 1.5, which is pretty close to pi over 2, we got 14. I think pi over 2 is an asymptote. If we do, and so it shoots up here, so, and then it shoots way down here, so it's coming up from there. And I think we're going to see the same thing repeating. If I go in the negative direction, the -1, should kind of do the same thing, but in the other direction. So let's put in a -1.2 and a -1.4. So this shape, it kind of looks like a cubic function, but this is periodic, and so it's going to have those shapes repeating. Do you have any idea what this could be? It is one of the trig functions, but it's one we haven't actually seen here before. It's the tangent function, I'm pretty sure. So the tangent is the sine over the cosine. Where the cosine is 0, it's going to be undefined, and you're going to have it shoot up to infinity or down to infinity. Cosine is 0 at pi over 2. That's why we're getting that asymptote at pi over 2. And then at 3 pi over 2, et cetera, you'll see that asymptote again. At 0, the sine is 0. It doesn't matter what the cosine is. It happens to be 1 there, but 0 over 1 is going to be 0. At pi, sine is 0, so whatever the cosine is, which is -1, it's still going to be 0. So I'm pretty sure this is the tangent function. Let's reveal, see if we got that. Yeah, and there it is, the tangent of x. And let's graph this one. I think it's an interesting graph to look at. Yeah. So the tangent goes through 0 and then shoots up really high and then down really low on the other end. And it just keeps repeating that same pattern over and over again. Well, how did that go for you? That's the first time we've seen the tangent function. Were you able to deduce that that was a periodic function and that it had something to do with trig? Let me know. Thanks, everybody.